From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your evening update.
American Door Company has been family owned and operated for over 29 years, supplying Northern California with quality garage doors, garage door openers, and installed with the best service you'd expect from a locally owned company. We serve all of Northern California from Willows all the way up to the Oregon state line. Give us a call today.
Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mike Kruger. This is your evening update here at Weather NorCal. Of course, I'm reporting from Baja, Mexico. All right, let's take a look at what we got going on with our weather headlines, and we do have temperatures finally showing signs of starting to drop. We've been looking at this excessive heat over the last several days. Today was the transition day. Still hot today, but by tomorrow it'll be noticeably cooler, and even more so by Friday and through the weekend. The monsoon moisture that we've been dealing with, giving us the afternoon thunderstorms, that's finally moving out. And that means I don't expect any more thunderstorms in the forecast for the mountains, at least through the rest of the week, if not this weekend, and even into next week. Now, the cooling trend is going into the weekend. The peak of the cooling trend will be this weekend before we see another gradual warming trend. However, through most of next week, I don't anticipate it to be as hot as we've been experiencing this week. So you can see, instead of that 108, 109, 110, even 111 that we've seen, we're down to 104 for tomorrow in the valley. We're down to just below 100 degrees in Trinity County. And we're down to the low 90s for the mountains, and of course no big changes for the coast. You haven't been impacted by this heat wave, so you've been dealing with temperatures still in the low 60s, and that's the case here in the extended outlook. Now, the winds are something that I'm watching very closely, along with the humidity levels. Why? Because the winds, as they pick up, are going to elevate the fire danger. See, the thing is, the typical breezy conditions we see in the afternoon are stronger than just the normal breezes. They're actually looking at gusty winds at times for both tomorrow and even for your Friday afternoon. So as a result, we've got elevated fire risk. Okay, so let's take a look at the humidity as well. Humidity levels are actually dropping, unfortunately. This is going to mean that the current fires are going to respond to that, and that makes it harder for the firefighters. So not only is it going to be drier, but the winds are picking up, and that keeps the fire danger high. But with that said, looking at the fire weather risk map that you're seeing here, this combines the temperature, the humidity, and the winds. Now, one of those elements, when you drop one of those elements, what that does is it decreases the fire weather risk. So one of the elements that we're dropping, at least for the valley, cooler temperatures. It's not going to be as hot. Still hot, still dry, still windy at times, right? So that keeps the fire danger elevated in the high range. Now, as we take you into your Friday, once again, the winds and dry conditions, but not as hot. And even in the mountains, we're seeing a decrease in that fire weather risk. But with that said, you can see as we go into your Thursday, it's the winds. That's what we're most concerned about here for the valley, northward and east of the valley as well. Now, it looks like as the winds die down a little bit, especially for the valley, not as bad, but the winds still gusting at times, especially east of the valley, even for your Friday. All right, let's talk about the chances for thunderstorms. They're pretty much gone at this point. The monsoon moisture is moving out. Now, there still is a little bit of cloud cover from that monsoon moisture, as you can see tomorrow morning in the Lassen County, eastern Plumas County as well. Now, that's good because it'll keep the humidity levels up. We're also seeing that fog tomorrow morning on the coast, but a lot of it should burn off, should make for a gorgeous day for your Thursday afternoon. But look at that. Not a thunderstorm to be seen even in at least western Nevada. So our chances for thunderstorms are much, much slimmer by tomorrow, and of course the case on Friday as well. Now, the fog will return Friday morning and actually may have a hard time burning off here for the coast here as we go into Friday afternoon. Okay, so here's a long-range outlook. All the monsoon moisture stays to our east. We, as a result, don't see any more thunderstorms in the mountains. This is fantastic news because, yes, the rain is nice from those thunderstorms, but the lightning strikes, not so great. In fact, some of the fires that we have out there that are creating problems for us are lightning-sparked fires. So once again, when we can reduce that element of lightning, that can really help us out. Now, let's take a look at the cooling trend. The dome of high pressure that's been over us, giving us the 110 plus degree temperatures over the last several days in the valley. That's pushing eastward. Low pressure to our north, kind of creating a trough of low pressure over us. That trough brings in cooler air and pushes the heat to our east. As a result, our temperatures drop. The peak of the cooling trend will be over the weekend, in particular on Saturday. Then, as we go through next week, a gradual increase in our temperatures because high pressure over the desert southwest will slowly rebuild to our east. As a result, our temperatures increase. Now, even though we're seeing an increase in our temperatures, not as hot as it was this week. In fact, we take a look at the 10-day trend, we're going from 110, 111 for some of the hottest locations the last few days to 104 tomorrow. And then we're back down into the low to mid 90s over the weekend. Temperatures gradually increasing. Yes, we're up to about 105 on Friday, up to 106 on Saturday, but that's not 110. So when I say not as hot, it most likely won't be 110 plus by the end of this upcoming next week and into that next weekend. So we at least have that to look forward to, especially since the normal high in the valley is about 100 degrees. Now we look at the wave heights. The wave heights are actually increasing a little bit here, but as of right now, there are no small craft advisories that have been issued at this point. In fact, no advisories for tomorrow. North winds at about 10 to 15 knots. So let's take a look at our forecast for tonight. You know, this morning we were down to the upper 70s, low 80s for those overnight lows. That makes for a warm start to the day. Not as bad. See how temperatures are dropping? We're in the low to mid 70s instead of the upper 70s and low 80s. So along with the cooling trend with those daytime highs, we're also seeing those overnight and early morning lows dropping as well. So we look at Trinity County neighborhood forecast, temperatures dropping in the low 90s by the weekend, and then a gradual increase for next week. Your North Coast neighborhood forecast for the coast, all right, no big changes there. Temperatures in the low to mid 60s for your daytime highs. For the inland areas, this is where we're going to notice the temperatures dropping. I think even some of the inland areas could drop down to the 80s for your daytime highs over the weekend, back in the low to mid 90s by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Let's take a look at your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. And there you can see for Mount Shasta, yeah. And we were dropping down to the mid 80s by Sunday, and really over the weekend, back up to the upper 80s, low 90s from Monday through Wednesday. Your Modoc County neighborhood forecast, no more chances for thunderstorms in there, so we're dry and we're cooler. Upper 80s by the weekend, back to the low 90s by early next week. Your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast, your temperatures in the 90s, dropping down to the 80s as well by the weekend, 87 Saturday in Susanville, Sunday a high of 89, low 90s for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by NorCal Tractor. Your temperatures still over 100, but not 110. And there you can see dropping below 100 degrees by Friday. And taking a look to the north, 104 for Redding, 103 for the city of Shasta Lake, and 103 in Red Bluff. And your 7-day outlook for Redding is calling for temperatures dropping below 100 degrees. Yes, there we did it, Friday. And even cooler for the weekend in the low, we're talking low 90s. The normal high is 101 degrees for Redding. We're down to 192. We're almost 10 degrees below normal. Kind of hard to believe that 92 degrees is almost 10 degrees below normal, but it is. And then temperatures increasing slowly, gradually, but slowly, and eventually making its way back up to 100 degrees by next Wednesday. That's your evening update. We will see you tomorrow morning on your morning update at 6 a.m. And then, of course, Coffee with Kruger starting at 7 a.m. Until then, have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We're the locals down the street. The neighbor you come to for advice. A nest egg for the golden years. A loan or a new account for that growing business. What started in Chico 50 years ago has taken us all around California, providing big bank lending power and high-tech service while keeping our relationships personal. We're still the locals down the street, no matter where your street might be. Tri-Counties Bank, California's local bank.